Aussie Rogers goes on the offensive, Exxon joins court case, and why we need to stop sheltering abusers. I am Rico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-614. The DPP's efforts to have Magistrate Leron Daly removed from the Detective Bascom cybercrime case has been thwarted. Last month, the DPP wrote Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Yonette Cummings-Edwards, requesting that Senior Magistrate Leron Daly be removed from hearing the case, complaining that she should not have ordered the police legal advisor, Attorney Mandel Moore, to be removed from the court and taken into custody briefly over his refusal to provide the court with a copy of the police press conference that saw a response to the cover-up claims made by the police sergeant. When the matter was called on Tuesday, Magistrate Daly was prepared to recuse herself from the case, but she was instructed to continue hearing the case by the Chief Magistrate. Magistrate Daly will commence the trial next February.
As an independent online news entity, being politically objective can cost you a lot of money in lost sponsorship opportunities. That's because most local companies are often too scared to associate themselves with a news entity that is uncompromising with the truth. We do appreciate our sponsors, as their support is what has allowed us to maintain our integrity without fear and remain dedicated to you, our viewers. Every night, thousands of viewers rely on Uncut News because they are tired of the biased and poorly presented mainstream media in Guyana. But to truly compete, we need your help to grow Uncut News from being the most watched online news to the most watched news in Guyana, period. Help us by becoming a monthly subscriber today. There are special rewards at every subscription level, including your name in the credits, personalized gifts, and more. Your monthly contribution helps us to stay independent by spending less time worrying about paying the bills and more time on keeping you informed. So click the link in the description of this video and become a subscriber today.
Patricia Henry, the mother of the slain teen Isaiah Henry, died on Tuesday. Family members said she never healed after Isaiah's death and became even more distraught when her eldest son was charged for what was seen as the retaliation murder of Haresh Singh. She always maintained that her eldest son is innocent. Today, relatives said Patricia Henry grieved to death and died from a broken heart. After everything that's happened since that day, I'm inclined to agree. Ramps Logistics is suing the state for a local content certificate, and the High Court is set to hear the case on November 11th. In defending the application, Senior Counsel Luku told the court that Ramps Logistics is a Guyanese company within the meaning of the Local Content Act and an operator in the local petroleum sector for nearly 10 years. He also noted that though the company is originally from Trinidad, a legal Guyanese does own 51% of the company's shares. Guyanese nationals also hold at least 75% of executive and senior management positions and at least 90% of non-managerial and other positions. Aussie Rogers has now gone on the semi-shaggy offensive. And by that, I mean he's denying that anything happened, but still gave a poor excuse as to why he did it. According to a statement Rogers released on his public Facebook page, he did in fact hit the woman, but the video was heavily doctored according to him. But he did hit her, but it's only because she reportedly called him the N-word and provoked him to violence after calling him the N-word repeatedly, and supposedly the woman had hit him multiple times. He also claims that he was never detained by the police and that this widely circulated video was in fact heavily doctored. However, the commander of Region 5, Lonsdale Withreat, yesterday refuted Rogers' claims and insisted that he was in fact detained by the police, after which he was released on his own recognizance. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Toyota Crown Athlete. It comes with Bluetooth, mount rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamp, spot camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $9.95 million, or pay as low as $1.99 million down with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Pedoja, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Murigo sent you for this sweet deal. Now for today's oil update. Exxon has been granted permission to join proceedings in a suit brought to the High Court that challenges the validity of its Liza Phase 1 environmental permit. In May of this year, two local activists had sued the EPA for extending Exxon's Liza Phase 1 permit by another 5 years. They are also seeking to close down operations, claiming that the permit is unlawful on the basis that a new environmental impact assessment was not done before the permit was renewed by the government. Despite the financial impact an adverse ruling would have on its operations, Exxon had not been included as a party to the case. Therefore, they applied to be given a chance to defend its permit, which the court allowed. Thus, the case will recommence on January 12, 2023. On Wednesday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs met virtually with Facebook senior representatives regarding false narratives and illegal maps of Guyana in reference to the nation's border with Venezuela. Prasad told the representatives that the government is concerned about the spread of disinformation, since the matter is currently before the ICJ. The Foreign Secretary, Robert Prasad, is expected to have a follow-up discussion with the social media platforms on ongoing efforts to have our concerns addressed. Since half of you all are supposedly making plans to move to London now, here's our top international story for today. Liz Truss has lost the trust of her party and has resigned as Prime Minister, making her the shortest-serving British Prime Minister at a mere 45 days, meaning that a mosquito born on the first day of her term would have outlasted her. Her own MPs on the Conservative side asked Truss to go, following the ditching of most of her economic policies. Her resignation comes after a key minister quit, and Tory MPs rebelled in a chaotic fracking parliamentary vote. Yes, it's the oil production method, fracking. It was a vote about fracking, a fracking vote. Truss was elected by the Tory membership in September, but she lost authority after a series of U-turns on policy. Truss has been in office for just 45 days. Again, as we said, that's the shortest tenure of any UK Prime Minister. The second shortest serving PM was George Canning, who served in 1827. His reign ended not because he was unpopular, but because he died after 119 days in office. Attention truck owners, if you're not shopping at Powered Automotive, you're wasting your money. Powered Automotive has all the major parts for all models of DAF, Freightliner, Mark, International, and more. No need to knock your belly here. They have all the parts you need at all the prices you can afford. Visit them at Lot 491 EE Eccles, or call or WhatsApp them on 6970171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. You can multiply your cash by selling digital top-up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? This whole Aussie Rogers situation. What concerns me the most is the fact that it actually reflects a society that excuses and at times even condones violence against women. If you check the comments on Oz's page, you will see the main people defending him are women, most likely fans, who would rather believe a poorly written statement than their own eyes. Instead of owning up to the consequences for his violent actions, he, like many other abusers before him, would rather make excuses, flee, or use their political power and influence to avoid punishment. But instead of making an example of abusive men, the powerful in Guyana instead shield abusers from scrutiny or prosecution. Things like this only reinforces the culture of abusing women in Guyana. Men in power, whether in business or politics, abuse women seemingly without punishment. So, if they do it, then what type of message do you think that sends to the regular men and boys? Because a cursory review of the nation's headlines shows that abuse in Guyana is not exclusive to one race, class, religion, or education level in Guyana. Rather, it is a fundamentally flawed way of viewing the importance of women held by men across social strata across this nation. Worse yet, we see that the government, no matter who's in power, will always excuse an abuser before even punishing them. And by not protesting and allowing the victims to never receive justice for these slights, we as citizens are supporting this type of behavior. In my opinion, the President's 1,000 Men Mentorship Program is a good idea. Hopefully we'll see things improve. But as the government addresses the problem of crime and joblessness in young men, I hope they remember that it doesn't matter how many women you make as ministers. It does not matter how many male mentors you get. If they continue to harbor abusers and continue to put them in places of leadership and influence, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And that is pretty stupid. Now for our uncut news, viewers poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Last night I asked, what can the government do to try to improve the situation for creative arts in Guyana? Our Seaview Farm says the government needs to put out a call for professional artists, especially of Guyanese descent, to come to Guyana as artists in residence at UG, Theatre Guild, and dance studios, art galleries, etc. to educate the budding talents Guyana has. There are so many celebrity Guyanese that can offer their skills to Guyana. #One Guyana. I really love that idea. Lash says, more expos during periods we know of and we know that it actually experiences peak tourism. Give visitors free admission and have artists display their trade, whatever it may be. Well, so I guess it'd be the government who is then subsidizing this. I mean, I like that idea, but as long as the artists are still getting paid. And finally, the realist one says they should stop being so arrogant and listen to people. Communicate, then all things are possible. Stop suppressing us and stealing our ideas. Which is why I say why we need copyright legislation. No one can steal people's ideas if we have copyright legislation. So for tonight's question, I want to know, how best can we adapt as a small nation to climate change? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.